welcome back to Freedom from Fire. I will be your host, Lieutenant Lisa Desimore. I am currently stationed in our department's Fire Prevention and Code Division, where community risk reduction efforts are a primary goal. Here at Freedom from Fire, we aim to improve your quality of living by giving you fire and life safety information. And we also introduce you to our local safety partners. On this episode, we will speak with Battalion Chief Gustaf Bauman of the Fire Prevention Division. A few quick highlights as it references Chief Bauman. He has 27 years of service with the Philadelphia Fire Department, and presently he is the Battalion Chief for the department's Fire Prevention and Code Division. Chief Bauman, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for having me today, Lieutenant. It's very nice for you to have me here and to get a chance to talk to everyone about what we do for a living every day to make everyone safer.
Yes, absolutely. Typically, the opening question will be, tell us a little bit about yourself and your role here in the Philadelphia Fire Department.
Sure. My name is Gustaf Bauman with the Philadelphia Fire Department's Fire Prevention and Code Division. A lot of people just call me Gus or by my middle name, Carl. So hello to all of those individuals. I've been with the city of Philadelphia for 27 years, both as a firefighter, paramedic, and in addition to that, I've served in the roles of lieutenant, captain, and now I am a battalion chief. I've been with the Fire Prevention Division for approximately 3 years and act as a deputy director of fire and life safety education and all the programs that we do for the community, including our community action teams, our fire prevention staff, and our code unit.
Thank you, Chief. And just to kind of highlight, because I don't want to get too past in our interview before I talk very briefly about our history as it relates to the department, because you and I are graduates of the 179 class.
Yes.
So shout.
That's right. 179. That's right. Absolutely. Yes. Crawl down the hallways together.
Absolutely. And I don't know if I remember this correctly, but I believe did you serve some time with the prisons department as well?
I did do that as well. I worked in their fire department before joining the Philadelphia Fire Department. Yes.
Okay, so my memory does serve me correctly because I remember in the academy, we were also on the same platoon. I believe it was the C platoon, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, and I remember hating the initial experience of the academy and hearing your story. And I'm like, you must be a glutton for punishment because how many times can you do something like that?
True. Well, I think third was the charm because I haven't gone back since then. And so that's been very helpful to me anyway.
Good. All right, so let's get back to our task at hand. Really quick though, are there any interesting experiences that you've had in fire prevention that you can share with us? And interesting by your definition.
Well, I tell you, interesting to me is something that we as a fire department haven't done in the past. Something that's new, exciting, and refreshing. Something that gets the community and the fire department kind of like happy and, invigorated about what we do. And so from a prevention standpoint, I was able to witness this birth and growth of a community action team, something that we never thought about in the fire department. When I came on, most of us remember that we would go to a fire, for us, it was like this really invigorating thing. It was so exciting. We go and we put the fire out and then we take up the hose line, put the ladders away and leave. And that's it. Nobody ever finds out what happens. There's no follow-up. The community members, the occupants, everybody's on their own. And we're like, okay, it's time to go do the next one. And then we did that over again. And so to have this new thing, a new concept where it's like, hey, so wait a second. We're actually going back and we're going to do aftercare and follow up and see how people do and get them the resources that they didn't have, and we're not abandoning them in any kind of way. That, to me, that was really awesome to do.
So it absolutely is. And the way you speak about it, you would think that that's something that would have been since forever, but it's like you said, it's relatively new. And go right ahead, Chief.
And then not only that, but we do it for people and pets too. So everything counts, you mean? People, property, pets, aftercare? Wow. I mean, that's new to me anyway.
Yeah.
I don't ever remember
Yeah.
getting that.
And it reinforces our image. It reinforces our great relationship that we have with the community, you know, because whenever a kid or even adult sees a fireman, you know, it's that smile or give me a toot in your, you know, your apparatus. And, you know, it's that, wow, you know, they not only, you know, either saved my home or attempted to save my home, but now they even care after they're, you know, if they've done their business, so to speak.
And I think what our cats do is what we as firefighters did and as officers in the field, but we just didn't realize it because it was on a smaller scale. Like one of the things I used to do, I always remember we'd have a really bad job, whatever the case was, we're first in. I remember trying to find just one item that we could save and give that to the homeowner or the occupant. So sometimes it might be a family photo or like a diploma that was hanging on the wall. And it's like, look, I know we didn't save everything. And it seems like the world is ending. But one good thing is like, here, I was able to save one thing for you. And you could kind of build like that rapport, that bond with people at a very, very small scale. And now we do it larger.
Yeah. And even something as small as that, as saving a diploma or a family photo, even though they lost everything, people are so appreciative of those small memories. Yeah, they're irreplaceable. So for you to have thought, you know, that much forward and say, hey, you know what, at least I can give this to you. I mean, someone could break down in tears, and then that's when you start to realize the impact that you actually made. So, Chief, there may sometimes be hesitance from firefighters in the field to transition to the administrative side of the department. How have your previous views or perspectives about the administrative side changed or been confirmed in a sort since your time with fire prevention?
I think that it's probably universal in the field that there's a fear of the FAB, the administration building. And really, it's a fear of the unknown. When we're field forces, you're in a company, you're in your own kind of world. You know what's going on with you, with your battalion, and to some extent, what's going on with the division. But if you were ever told to report to the FAB, it was a scary situation. You didn't know anyone down there. You thought it was bad. It was these evil people that were going to do things to you, and you know, it was us versus them, and then all of a sudden you get assigned, and I'd be the first one to say I was promoted and then sent here. I did not put in for administration, and so I had that fear too. But then I thought about it. I said, well, you know, I'm here, and this is the assignment. It's no different than any assignment you're given in the field, right? It's a place where you go to learn. So then I said, well, let me learn everything I can about here. And what I found was there is no us versus them. And you walk in the door down here and you find people that you know, people that are like you, people that have had similar experiences. And for whatever reason, now they're down here.
Yeah.
Sadly, there used to be this thing where people would say they heard. I never believed in it, but I used to hear about certain types of people went downtown, whether it was to hide or whether they couldn't. That's not the case. At least not now. I don't know what it was before because this is my first time.
Right.
But there are people like you that we crawled down hallways together. So we know who we are. And then we have relationships that we formed in the field which haven't changed. And so when I call people or they know I'm down here, we still have that cordial relationship, maybe friendly, and things can get done. And I found now I'm finding the reason why things are. When I was out in the field, I didn't know what was going on until it came out in print. A done, a GM, a staff note, on and on, right? But now I know what goes on behind that. And it's not just a rule or a reason. We find out everything there is. Why people get along how they do. Politics involved in it, you know, our partners, that we're not in it alone. You know, and finally, what you realize is that the FAB isn't there to hurt you or some evil entity. We are the support mechanism for the entire field force. And we're this micro micro unit, micro thing that nobody knows about, yet we try to help everyone we can. And I didn't know that before, and so many people don't believe that. So the transition was a little rough. And then now that I'm here, I'm like, we're just like everyone else, except it's a different role. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's like I had the same feelings as well. I get the question often, did you want to go, down the FAB? Did you want to be administrative? And it was one of those, I had to think longevity within the department. I had to really start thinking past just, so what am I this tour? Am I TIP? Am I PAC? And I get that that's not for everyone, but what was my path? What is going to be, the path that Lisa, wants to take if she wants longevity in the department. So initially, no. And then just like you, Chief, coming down here and getting to know, the culture down here, because like you said, it was one of those, it seemed like us versus them. Is it a different culture? What's the atmosphere like? Is it is there this unknown tension? Are we standing at attention and saluting all the time? So I totally get it. And I really appreciate you putting into perspective, that whole realm, hopefully that answers, maybe some concerns or little questions that folks might have in their mind, and it'll put them at ease for whenever they may have to come down here for whatever reason.
Well, if I could add one thing on that topic before we move on, I would say that people that are like me, I used to like having that new firefighter. I used to like having new officers that I could work with and train in a new way. But I could only affect the people that were in my company or in the battalion. If you come to the administration building, you'll have an opportunity to help an entire department if you want to. Because the things that get done down here, we make those decisions and set forth these, policies and procedures that are there to help people, even if they don't realize it. But we can reach so many more people than we could just at the company level.
I agree. I completely agree with you. Chief, we're going to take a short break, but when we return, we'll keep this awesome conversation going. So please stay tuned.
As birthplace to the first volunteer fire companies, Philadelphia is home to one of the nation's premier fire museums. Firemen's Hall Museum displays the city's fire history in addition to promoting fire safety. You can visit Firemen's Hall Museum in Old City at 147 North 2nd Street. Visit firemenshallmuseum.org to learn more, or watch the museum's show, Curator's Corner, on LaSalle TV.
Welcome back to Freedom from Fire. I'm your host, Lieutenant Lisa Desimore. We were speaking with Battalion Chief Gustaf Bauman about the work of fire prevention. Now let's get back on track. Just a couple of days ago, the Fire Prevention Division was involved in a smoke alarm distribution event, Operation Save a Life. Tell us more about that program, Chief.
This is a wonderful program that we partner with Kidde Corporation, who provides smoke alarms, Toyota Corporation, we all know through their vehicles, Home Depot, and 6ABC, our local channel affiliate in this Philadelphia area. And so what they did for us this year was wonderful. They provided us with 9,000 smoke alarms that we could utilize throughout the tri-state area. And it involved approximately 120 outside agencies from fire departments.
And that is pretty awesome because me being a part of that program in the past, we see names from surrounding counties to Atlantic City, Trenton. Am I right with those companies?
Yes, we went as far down as Delaware and as far as several counties inside Pennsylvania. Some of the places I haven't even heard of, even though I thought I would, And we had, I believe it was 106 companies from our direct area, like right across the bridge in southern New Jersey, and then the Pennsylvania region. And then, like I say, the other ones from as far down as Delaware. Every company.
Yeah, and
it was unbelievable, the turnout.
Yeah. And that's pretty awesome to kind of, put the perspective out there, or to give people a better idea when you say try say, and then, we go on to mentioning actually surrounding areas, and you're like, oh, wow, yeah, that's definitely, a large area that partakes in the program.
Sure. We get caught up, we think we're in our own bubble because we're used to Channel 6 being a Philadelphia station. Yep. But they, like, when you go anywhere else, you can still pick up that channel. And so sometimes it feels like we get all the resources, and the little companies that are out there for firefighting, a lot of them are volunteer. They don't have any funding or budgets to work with. And so this becomes a gift to them to get alarms, from our partnering agencies, and they walk away with a method of protecting their citizens. And it's like, I always like to say, don't think of just the people that live here, our residents, but think of the people that come here. They work here, they spend their money, they work here, they pay wage tax, but then they go home to the suburbs. This event helps them stay safe so that they can come to the city of Philadelphia and do what they need to do.
Absolutely. And every agency that receives these smoke alarms, no matter how many, they are always appreciative. I mean, I love seeing that. I love seeing, we're handing off maybe just a handful, and they're just so thankful. And it shows, that it's a significant impact.
It is. People that have financial insecurity are all over the country. And so these little organizations that really don't have the funding to do a robust fire prevention program, such as the one we have, they just can't wait for this event. And you're right, even if we give them a small quantity, it makes a difference in their community. Even if we don't see it, they do. And they feel just as happy and proud about it as we do.
And I think, Chief, you honestly, without even me asking, answered the next question, which was, in light of the lives that were recently lost in Philadelphia this year to fires, what significance does this, distribution event hold?
Yeah.
And you answered it. I mean,
yeah. I think to put it into perspective for us, there are a lot of things that go on within our city limits, and fire safety, quite frankly, tends to sit back a little bit in people's minds. They think about crime. They think about putting food on their tables, providing for their families, having somewhere to live. And then they worry about what can happen to their house while they're not home, right? Or something that's going to happen to their children while they're out. And then even a medical emergency, right? But not very often do people think about fire safety. And especially they don't think about the fire safety for where they go. And I'm getting to what you talked about, but it's like, so we have our home escape plan, right? We know how to get out of our house. But then when our children go for a sleepover or to a daycare, do we know what their fire safety plan is?
How about that?
No. We go over to a friend's house, right, to watch a sporting event. It's in the man cave. It's in the she shed, right? But what's their plan if we had an event? And maybe we're having a little bit of substances, and we're not abusing them, but maybe, like we're imbibing in some alcohol or something. We're lessening our ability to react quickly. Why do I bring that up? Because the smoke alarms that the city of Philadelphia provides are generally provided through a FEMA grant or donations from organizations. The city of Philadelphia does not provide a budget to us to purchase these. And so when we have an event like this, that we can get extra alarms out, 9,000 extra alarms into the hands of people that we forgot about, that we weren't thinking about. Like I say, those places that we go to hang out with our friends or where we're at. This is so amazing because it kind of helps us out into things we don't think about on a daily basis.
Absolutely. And for a while now, the fire department has been very, very active in free smoke alarm installation for the citizens of our wonderful city. Tell us more about this. What are the current plans to continue this for the remainder of the year?
Yeah. So in future grant processes, we would like to keep the same amount of alarms that we've been using now. Why do I say that? Well, up until our 2020 grant application, we were very fortunate enough to get 10,000 traditional smoke alarms. And those are just the ones that we're all used to. You don't talk to them. You can push a button and it makes a beeping noise. And if there's a fire and smoke is created, it goes off. In addition to that, we were also able to purchase up to 125 adaptive smoking alarms for the hearing impaired individuals. Those are ones that shake a bed, they talk back to you. Well, with our 2020 grant, we thought that, hey, listen, we have more citizens moving to the city of Philadelphia. Our population has increased every year for the last 16 years in a row. That's amazing.
Yes.
But our amount of alarms that we were getting hasn't increased with that. Wow. So with our 2020 grant application, we were lucky to be awarded double. 250 adaptive alarms, 20,000 traditional alarms. And so that means we can now service twice as many citizens as we did before. Now, can we get everybody's home? No, but we sure try. And what we always tell people is to have one alarm on every level of the house, including the basement. With that free alarm that we provide, all they have to do is contact Philly 311 at their website, or they can make a phone call. They can get put on the list, and the Philadelphia Fire Department will come out and install free smoke alarms on every level of their home at their request. No questions asked.
And we cannot, although, with us being members of Philadelphia Fire Department, we cannot put that message out enough. Sometimes, you sit and think for a while and you wonder, you say, oh gosh, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but it's one of those, no, you cannot put the message out enough. We've experienced one too many fire deaths here in the city. And it's just, you wonder, in today's day and age, how can this still happen? But unfortunately it does. And, then we said, well, what are the preventative measures? Smoke alarms, free smoke alarms now, to make it that much more accessible. So, when you hear these tragic events that happen in the news, sometimes it does take these events for folks to recognize, the importance of these. And we would rather that not, but, if that jogs your memory, or if it makes something inside of you simmer and say, you know what, we need this, because you'd be surprised. A lot of folks rather would be surprised how many folks just honestly just still don't even have them in their homes. They just don't.
If I could take a minute to try to sum it up in things that are important to us with today's way of life. We find that there's financial insecurity. People are living longer, but that they're also getting illnesses because of that, right? We all know we have those relatives that are sick or infirm. We know that people that used to leave the house at 18 years old and go and start their own life, right? Now they can't get jobs, or they've lost their jobs because of COVID restrictions and other issues, People are coming home again, but where they're coming isn't to the newest house. The elder aren't moving in with their grandchildren. It's the children and the grandchildren moving in with the elders.
Yep.
Well, those are the houses that are older, that maybe can't afford to be fixed up like a newer property. So we're putting more people in older properties. And then with all the technology, we're overusing the existing infrastructure, the wiring, the plumbing. This all adds up that if we don't help each other with being safe, thinking about having smoke alarms, getting education on fire and life safety, we're going to have catastrophic and tragic events. No fire death would ever be acceptable for us in the city of Philadelphia. Absolutely. But what we're finding are sadly, horribly, that we have incidents where more than one person dies. And the reason I say that I'm passionate about it is because most times people can't remember the name of someone that died in a fire. Well, I don't want any of those individuals to be forgotten. And so if they're young and they haven't become anything yet, to me, they're all educators and teachers. And I want to use them to let us all know that fire and life safety education is the first key in this whole process, followed with smoke alarms. please get that education. Ask your local firefighters. Have fire prevention and code come out and do classes for you, and then install those smoke alarms to get that advanced warning. Our people that have trouble getting out of a residence or sleep with their doors closed like they should need as much advanced warning as they can.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just want to say.
Chief, no, I'm glad.
And then I'll get off this set, right?
You're good.
Yeah, what we use in our homes today is far more dangerous. It's all chemical, plastics. And so the time that you do have to get out has been drastically decreased, even over what it was 10 years ago. Get the education, get the alarms, and please, when it sounds, get out.
So, Chief, it sounds like you are very passionate about fire safety education programs, as most of us are, being members of the Philadelphia Fire Department. So are there any plans to expand reach for these fire safety programs within the community? Can you go into that briefly, Chief?
Sure. We've partnered with the police department in Philadelphia to attend their town halls and spread our fire department safety messages. We've also partnered with the school district and DHS to get outreach to all their communities. In addition to that, we've enhanced our fire fatality management program and our youth fire setting program. Those are robust and they're working well for any shortfalls that we've had.
That is wonderful, wonderful and amazing to hear. I am so thankful to hear that, although I'm technically still assigned to the unit, I have been transitioning to the planning unit. So I've kind of been a little bit out of touch of what's, been taking place more recently in fire prevention. So Chief, thank you for that information. Thank you again so much for joining us today. Remember, if you would like to find out more about us on LaSalle TV, you can check out our social media sites. And if you're interested in learning about the Philadelphia Fire Department, you can visit our Facebook, Twitter, and web pages. Also, check out Firemen's Hall Museum, located at 147 North 2nd Street, and meet with our museum curator, firefighter Brian Anderson. I would like to once again thank Chief Bauman for joining us today. I would also like to thank our viewers and guests for tuning in and watching. So until next time, remember, fire is everyone's fight. Stay safe and remain free from fire.